All right, let's do a little thought experiment. I want you to imagine you are just filthy rich. The kind of rich where you don't even look at price tags. Got it? Okay, now open your eyes. Surprise! You're in ancient Egypt. Your mansion? It's a mud hut. And your ensuite bathroom is a hole in the ground.
And that right there is the central question we're tackling today. What's it really like to be a billionaire? Not just today, but what if you were a billionaire in 2000 BC? Which version actually feels better? Believe me, the answer is, well, it's not what you'd expect. So, to get to the bottom of this, we're going to take a trip through time. A little journey through wealth and, honestly, misery. We'll hit 5 key moments: ancient Egypt, the Roman Empire, medieval England, Gilded Age New York, and then right back here to the modern day. We're going to see how the headaches of the super rich have changed over the centuries.
Okay, first off, ancient Egypt, 2000 BC. You're not just rich, you're a nomarch. Think, a billionaire governor. You own pretty much everything in sight. The land, the crops, even the people working the fields. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Well, your day-to-day life? That's a whole other story.
I mean, this is where you see this huge disconnect between your status and your actual reality. Your bed, it's basically a wooden frame with some ropes tied across it. No memory foam here. Your pillow is literally a block of wood. Yeah. And sure, you're eating fancy stuff like duck and figs for breakfast, but the bread, it's loaded with sand from the grinding process. So by the time you hit 40, your teeth are just ground down to these painful little nubs. Ouch. But honestly, your aching teeth, that's the least of your problems. The real anxiety, the thing that keeps you up at night, is knowing that all of this, your wealth, your power, everything, it can vanish in a second. Why? Because it all hangs on keeping one guy happy, the Pharaoh. You promise him a big harvest, but hey, if the Nile doesn't flood just right, he's not just going to take your stuff. No. He will literally try to erase your name from history, burn your mummy, and doom your soul to wander the afterlife forever. Talk about high stakes.
And look, even if you play the political game perfectly, there are threats that don't care about your status. That same Nile River that gives you life, it's also a breeding ground for mosquitoes carrying malaria. All your gold, all your influence, it's completely useless when one tiny insect bite can kill your 7-year-old son. Wealth offers zero protection from that kind of heartbreak.
All right, let's jump forward a couple thousand years. We're landing in Rome around 100 AD. And wow, things are looking up. I'm talking underfloor heating, running water, major upgrades. But here's the trade-off. As the physical dangers start to fade, the social and political ones, they're about to get cranked up to 11. And this is the great Roman paradox, isn't it? As a wealthy senator, your lifestyle is incredible compared to that Egyptian nomarch. You're carried above the disgusting city streets in a private curtained litter. But all that comfort, all that luxury, it just paints a giant target on your back. Your whole life becomes this constant paranoid performance because you know the emperor could decide to confiscate your entire estate on a whim.
And hey, just because they had heated floors, don't go thinking everything was rosy. Let's talk about the bathroom situation. Roman toilets were, communal. We're talking 20 guys sitting right next to each other. No stalls. And the toilet paper? It's something called a xylospongum. It is a sea sponge on a stick, which you'd use, give it a quick rinse in some vinegar water, and then put it back for the next person. Yeah, privacy was definitely not a big Roman thing.
This paranoia really came to a head at dinner parties. You had this impossible tightrope to walk. You had to look rich enough to be important, but not so rich that you looked like a threat. You serve flamingo tongues on a solid silver platter, someone might report you for being too flashy. You see that quiet guy over in the corner? He might just be an imperial informer. One wrong joke, one misplaced comment, and you could have the Praetorian Guard kicking down your door before sunrise.
Okay, so we're leaving the relative luxury of Rome, and oh boy, are we taking a step backward, a huge one. Welcome to medieval England, 1250 AD. You're a baron, you've got a castle, and you are just bone-chillingly miserable. In this era, luxury isn't about heated floors. Luxury is making it through the winter without freezing to death. I mean, the daily grind is just relentless misery. Your home is a giant stone box, great for stopping Vikings, terrible for stopping drafts. You're wearing a layer after layer of itchy wool 24/7 just to fight off hypothermia. And the bathroom, it's a hole in the floor that hangs out over the moat, which means in the winter you get this lovely freezing updraft. And what are you eating to fuel your day? Bread, cheese, and about a gallon of ale, not for fun, but for the raw calories you need to just stay warm. And your biggest fear? It's shifted again. See, in Egypt, you were afraid of the Pharaoh. In Rome, the emperor. Here, as a medieval baron, you're afraid of everybody. Rival lords, your ambitious cousins, literally anyone could show up and lay siege to your castle. And their tactics were just brutal. Think catapulting cows that died of the plague over your walls, trying to poison your well. It's a whole new level of terror. All right, let's hit the fast forward button and jump to the Industrial Revolution. We're in New York, 1895. Now, wealth isn't tied to land anymore. It's about cold, hard, liquid cash. And there are just obscene amounts of it floating around. But all this new money, it creates a brand new kind of prison. It's a social cage, and the bars are made of iron, strict etiquette, and a whole lot of wool.
I mean, we are talking about mind-boggling amounts of money. You're a railroad baron. Your net worth is $200 million, which is the equivalent of about $8 billion today. You've got indoor plumbing, a flush toilet, electric lights. For the first time in our 4,000-year journey, life is becoming genuinely, truly comfortable. But you knew there was a but, right?
You've become a prisoner of your own clothes. You have to change outfits 4, maybe 5 times a day. A morning suit, a walking suit, a frock coat for lunch, white tie for the opera. And here's the killer. There's no air conditioning, and these are all made of heavy, thick wool. You're wearing this in the middle of a sweltering 95-degree New York summer. Being rich in the Gilded Age was basically a constant, sweaty performance. And the fear has changed. It's not one guy on a throne or a rival lord anymore. No, the new threat is 4,000 of your factory workers marching down the street with torches, chanting your name. The newspapers are calling you a robber baron. Unions are forming, riots are breaking out right in front of your Fifth Avenue mansion. You literally need armed guards just to walk out your front door. The masses now see you as the enemy. And that brings us right up to our final stop, today. We're back in New York, but it's 2025. You're a hedge fund billionaire. And on the surface, everything is perfect. All those physical problems from the past, solved. But they've been replaced. They've been swapped out for a whole new suite of complicated psychological anxieties. And here, the goal has done a complete 180. The Gilded Age baron, his whole life was about performance, being seen in the right places with the right clothes to prove his status. The modern billionaire, his main goal is invisibility. It's all about stealth wealth. You wear a $4,000 hoodie that looks like it costs $20 so you can just blend in. In the modern world, attention is the most dangerous currency.
And your life is ruled by this new kind of tyranny, optimization. You don't eat food for pleasure anymore. You drink some green sludge packed with kale and supplements for the best possible return on investment for your lifespan. You're obsessively tracking your sleep scores, your glucose levels, your cortisol. You're tied to work 24/7 by a digital leash where a 4-second glitch in an algorithm can vaporize $200 million. You own a dozen homes, but you don't really belong anywhere. You just live on a private jet, completely alone.
And that leads to the ultimate modern fear, total exposure. You can have private jets, panic rooms, a whole team of security, but it's an illusion. Your data is everywhere. Your phone is tracking your location. Your safety is one hack away from disappearing. It's a digital threat that can find you anywhere in the world at any time and go after the people you love.
So, after this 4,000-year tour through the miseries of the rich, what have we actually learned? We've seen wealth haunted by everything from physical pain and political paranoia to all-out violence and class warfare. But what about now? What's the final evolution?
This progression, this is really the whole story, isn't it? The fears of the wealthy have morphed from these very real physical external threats, a single powerful ruler, your rivals, the angry masses, to something you can't see or touch, something intangible and internal. Today, the fear is about being completely exposed to the outside world, and at the same time, feeling a profound sense of emptiness on the inside.
And that really leaves us with one final nagging thought. The modern billionaire has a level of physical comfort and safety that a pharaoh couldn't even begin to imagine. They've beaten heat, cold, most diseases, distance. They've conquered the physical world. But in this obsessive race to optimize every single thing, from their diet to their portfolio, they find themselves staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., realizing there's one thing you just can't optimize, one thing you can't put on a spreadsheet. And that, well, that might just be the worst problem of all.